Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel for another album review slash first time reaction to Hearing. If you're new to my channel, just know that what this video is going to be basically is just me sitting here listening to the album. I have the CD right here, listening to the CD for the first time. I have the deluxe edition. I don't know if I'll get to both discs or not, but I know that I'm going to make it through the main first disc for sure. So what I'm going to basically do is sit here, listen for the very first time to the album, and give you my thoughts, my comments on it as I'm listening to it for the very first time. I'm not going to be playing the music with it because for sure this video will get taken down, and I don't want to take anything away from the artists. So if you have not listened to the new Gorillaz album yet, Song Machine Season 1, then please head over to Spotify. I will include a link down below to listen to this. Head over to Spotify or wherever you get your music, whether that's Google Play Music or iTunes, wherever, Amazon Music even, and go check out the album and listen along with me. I'm just going to hit play and play it all the way through. In all of my doing these videos, I've never had a reason to stop, but if I have a reason to stop, I'll stop it and I'll let you know for sure what we're going to be doing. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Gorillaz and my relationship with them before I get started though, so if you want to skip that and get right to when I start the album, go to this point right here. If you would like to forego all of that and you're not going to listen to the album along with me and you want to just kind of hear my sort of general review after I'm done listening, I'll say a few words about it, speak a little bit about my thoughts as a whole to kind of wrap everything up at the end. Go ahead and go to this timestamp right here and you can listen to that at that point. So right now, I just want to say I am a huge fan of the Gorillaz. I love all four members, Murdoch, 2D, Russell, and Noodle. I think that the story of how they came to be together is amazing, which I have their autobiography right here, Gorillaz, Rise of the Ogre. If you've not seen or heard of this book, please check it out. It's amazing. One of the best biography books about a band, about the origin of the band that I've ever read. It's fascinating. I'm a huge fan specifically of 2D and Noodle, at least early on Noodle. I think Noodle in the last few albums has been, I don't know, she's been almost non-existent to me on some of their recent releases, and it's a little bit disappointing for me, but I think she's still an integral part of the band as she's grown up, basically. Fans of the Gorillaz will know that she started at a very young age, and she's basically grown up with us watching her throughout their albums and all the controversies and crazy things that have happened, including her entire crazy... well, you'll just have to look up the history of the Gorillaz if you're not already familiar with it to find out all about all of that. I really like 2D as well. I think the aspects that he brings to the band are some of my favorite aspects, the sort of more electronic-based stuff, the more sort of down-tempo things. I enjoy all the drumming that Russell does, the beats and things that he throws together for everything. And I think that his part of the first album is one of the original Gorillaz self-titled album, the green one with the Jeep on the front. I think that's one of the reasons that I love the Gorillaz so much. That album was just basically one of the greatest trip-hop albums of all time, and I think Russell's contributions to that also really made that album stand out as what it is. Murdoch, I'm not the biggest fan of. I kind of think that he's kind of a butt. He's pretty controversial, which I'm not a very controversial person, and some of his views are crazy and extreme, and so, I think that he's just a controversial figure, and I'm not a big fan of that. But I mean, obviously, he's a great bass player, or you wouldn't be in such a cool, phenomenal band. So I'm anxious to see what this album is like. The first Gorillaz album, like I mentioned, is... here, hold on. I want to show you guys what I got here. I just want to show you. I have the Gorillaz' entire catalog here. Their first album, which is an absolute classic, I love. Just going to go through their albums real quick. That was a B-sides and rarities. Then, of course, Demon Days. This is the album, if you're unfamiliar, that Noodle sort of took the reins and wanted to really showcase what she could do. The guitar playing on this is really good, and the songwriting is what's really fantastic about this album. Then G-sides and D-sides, which, of course, are awesome. And then we have Plastic Beach, which I actually have over here in vinyl form. It's the only album of the Gorillaz that I have in vinyl. Then we have The Fall, which is an album that they released as they were touring around the United States. This one was mostly, I believe, 2D, kind of writing songs while they were touring around the U.S. In their tour bus, so it's kind of got a different feel. Then we had a bit of a break from the Gorillaz for quite a while until they came out with Humans, which is not my favorite album. They've been making music for long enough that I kind of feel like at this point, this album was made for a generation of people that doesn't really include me in it anymore. I think there were a few songs on here that are absolutely incredible, like Moments, and a few other ones that I really love. But of the two discs, like there's maybe only like 5 songs that I really, really do enjoy. The rest of the album, not so much. I think that, like I said, they just kind of move beyond my taste in music. They're doing more modern styles that I don't particularly care for, but that's kind of one of the good things about the Gorillaz. You never know what to expect. And then their most recent album, The Now Now, was actually a huge disappointment to me because I really was excited about the sort of more electronic direction they were going with it, sort of an 80s flair, definitely 2D inspired. But I don't know. That album disappointed me. I felt like it was a little short. There was some more instrumental parts on the album that I didn't really care for. And it left me wanting. And so that's why I'm really excited for this album, The Song Machine. I actually wasn't even aware that this album was coming out. I've heard the Gorillaz talking about The Song Machine Season 1 for months now on Facebook, and I assumed it was some sort of a blog or TV show. They do a lot of things with Spotify and making playlists, like their own, each member of the band makes their own playlists. And that kind of stuff is really awesome, but it's not what I'm looking for from them. I want new music. I want new music videos. I would love for them to eventually make a movie. There's been talks of that forever. A TV show would be amazing. Anything from the Gorillaz really is just something that I think is a treasure to behold. And along with the 4 members of the band, I just have to shout out 2 people. Jimmy Hewlett, of course, who does some of their album artwork, is one of my favorite album artists, or favorite artists actually of all time. You can just see some of his artwork here. This is on the. This is from the Plastic Beach vinyl. He just is such an incredible artist. I mean, look at this. And just to prove the vinyl, it's the regular edition, not too crazy, but the artwork is just so incredible. So I got to thank Jamie Hewlett for that. He's absolutely amazing. And then, of course, someone that's kind of been a long-time collaborator of the Gorillaz for a long time, Damon Albarn, who's actually one of my musical idols. I loved Blur growing up, and I still enjoy, I mean, to this day, everything that they did in the 90s all the way up to their most recent album, which they released, I think it was in 2017. They were working on new material during the Olympics, I know, and they released an album, and it kind of came out of nowhere. But anyway, Damon Albarn's really cool, and he's a frequent collaborator of the Gorillaz, so I just wanted to shout him out and say that I think that, without him and some of the work he's done on all of their albums, actually, I think that the Gorillaz wouldn't be what they were without him. So let's go ahead and get to this album. I've got my headphones here, so I'm going to throw these on. And I got the album here. So I'll get out disc 1. Here's the artwork. Kind of meh, I don't know. I'd have to say I like going back to this sort of more original art style than their previous album, which had a lot more more like stylized. I like the more classic Gorillaz look. But let's see here. I'm going to get out the book so I kind of see what's going on. It doesn't really say too much in here. I love albums that have good liner notes with lyrics and things like that, and this album doesn't really have that, but it's still nice to have the artwork. So let's go ahead and get to this. This is the Gorillaz Song Machine Season 1. Hitting play now. Track 1, Strange Times, starting right now. I have no idea what to expect from this. I have heard no clips of this at all. Now, this track features a person named Robert Smith. Obviously, the Gorillaz, a huge collaborative effort. All their albums have a lot of guest artists, and that's one of the things I love about them as well. You never know what you're going to expect. Like I said. So we got some piano and some sort of spoken word. Okay, there's 2D coming in. One of the things that's always frustrated me about Gorillaz, not to get into too deep into the weeds here while this is heating up, people consider them to be sort of like a rap group, and that is definitely not true. On their first album, which is definitely their most classic album, there's only, I think, 2 rap songs on the whole album, and those 2 songs were singles, and they were great. However, that is not a representation of what that album is, a good representation at least. So I don't consider them a rap group. They've done more rap. They've done a lot of rap things and hip-hop collaborations over the years. I mean, this song certainly isn't like that. Very interesting electronic feeling to it. The bass, the synth bass, is very dry right in the middle, and it is a constant presence. The pitch is fluctuating and oscillating a little bit, but it is just a constant presence right in the middle of the mix. Ooh, there comes some bigger drums. That synth that's swirling around, that higher frequency synth, that is very Gorillaz. Also, for Gorillaz, having a sort of a spoken word song on the album is something that they've done throughout most of their career on their albums. It's something that they're not necessarily known for, but they have done on almost all of their albums. The distortion on 2D's vocals here is also classic Gorillaz. I'm sort of torn over whether or not I enjoy that or not, but it fits the style of what they're doing, and you know, you can't expect him to sing clean all the time, so having distortion on certain things helps separate him from the lead vocals. I think that's what they're going for. But definitely on this song, the guest vocalist, Robert Smith, I believe his name was, much more heavily featured than 2D. And that's another great thing about the Gorillaz. They are not selfish artists at all. Murdoch might be a little bit selfish, but he's more about the creation of the song as a whole rather than who's featured. And he definitely cares more about the overall arrangement and the sonic quality of it. I'm going to say I like this song. A good album opener. The piano is interesting. It kind of shrill, but they have a little bit of a low pass on it to take off the shrillness. So it becomes almost more of just like a rhythmic. Oh, and now we're done with that track. All right, track 2 right off with drums. Love it. The Valley of the Pagans. Featuring Beck, of course. Beck doing lead vocals so far. Beck, an artist that I really enjoy. His album Désolé is classic. I can't tell who's singing this part. This is sort of a pre-chorus. Now we're to 2D. I really enjoy the drums. It sounds like real drums, like acoustic drums recorded in a space. It could just be really good, really well-chosen samples, or someone played it and then the samples were triggered or replaced. The actual drum sounds were replaced. But regardless, it has a nice rock feel to it almost. And then the sort of stabs, almost what you would expect brass section to be doing, the stabs there, just synth stabs. Really nice. This is like a rock part. I think I hear some distorted guitar possibly. And definitely that. Oh. This is too Plastic Beach feeling this is. But Plastic Beach was so shiny and plastic sounding. It had a sheen over everything. Everything was very crisp, clear angles. That might be a little bit of a weird way to put it, but that's what it was. Whereas this is a lot more gritty sounding, not necessarily raw sounding, but grittier. Everything has more rounded edges. There's not a ton of high-end, high frequencies. But again, it's got a raw feel. Bass is great on this song. I haven't been paying attention to it really this whole time, but that just means it was fitting in the pocket perfectly. So, of course, Murdoch just nailing it like always. Very groovy. I'm enjoying the synths. They're very dry, but they're not crisp, as I was trying to say earlier. What I mean by that is there's not a lot of high frequencies in them. There are low passed to make it so that they're not shrill. Oh, and then we have some very affected vocals there. Okay, now we're on the last chord, I believe, track 3. The Lost Chord featuring Lee John. Lee with 4 E's, so Lee John. I don't know who that is as an artist, so it'll be anxious. I'm anxious to see. This will be me discovering a brand new artist. That's always exciting. Okay, we got spoken vocals again, spoken word. Ooh. Ooh, the groove. Oh, Murdoch totally nailing it this song. I believe the singing here is being done by this Lee John. There's 2D. This is... Okay, here's some auto-tune effect on 2D, which he has never shied away from having that on his vocals. We all know that 2D can sing. We all know that he's a great singer. So when he uses autotune, we know it's as an effect. So I don't mind it that much. The vocals are a little bit cleaner on this song, and there's more high frequency in them, and they're definitely less distorted than the previous track, making everything sound a little bit more clean. But again, the groove is the central focus of the song. Ooh. That's got to be Lee John. Very smooth, soulful voice. High register. I like it. Ooh, there's almost like a clave or something in there, in the middle. And it's just doing little sprinkly things, but I love it. Very, very much something that lays back in there, but also stands out nicely. Everything is just laying back on that groove so well. Back to 2D. Another thing about Gorillaz songs in general is they tend to not have very distinct, separate sections. Once a song starts and a groove is established, it tends to sort of kind of live in that pocket almost the entire song. Occasionally things will go away, come back, things will be added, but there's pretty rarely ever a big change in a bridge or something like that. So sometimes some of their songs can feel a smidge repetitive, but one of the good things that they do, and this is one of the things Russell helps out with, he makes sure that their songs are interesting enough that you're listening to, even if it is like a drum beat or something repeated the whole song, there's enough things wrapped around that drum beat to keep it interesting the entire time. Ooh, there's definitely some dissonant chords in there now, and some strings. Oh, the Gorillaz have always been sort of connected, at least in my head, with movies like zombie movies and things like that, sort of horror movie soundtracks, things like that. They use some very famous samples on their debut album. And then they kind of kept that going with Demon Days and some of their B-sides they've released over the years. Not so much on the Now Now. That was a much more positive album overall. So And I would say this song is positive, but got some seagulls maybe in there. Maybe a call back to Plastic Beach. That's kind of interesting. I enjoy that. All right, we're on track 4 here. We're going through pretty fast. This is Pac-Man featuring Schoolboy. Ooh, love the bass. Sounds like a synth bass to me. Ooh, 2D coming right in. It's amazing when 2D sings, you just know it's him right away. Interesting. There was sort of a filter sweep there on the bass, and then it came back down. This song is very low end. I don't want to say low end heavy, but it's very predominantly low end. The kick doesn't really have a lot of high frequency in it, and the bass is very rounded. And I think that comes from the low pass filters that they seem to have been using quite a bit. That could also come down to mastering as well, which is a very important thing. And I'm not sure who mastered this album, and I'm not sure which of the Gorillaz sort of is in control of making those decisions. But regardless, all their previous albums have sounded sonically very, very, very good. And this one so far sounds good too. Okay, now we have everything going away. So we have kind of maybe a bridge here, or it might even be going into what could be the first chorus, even though we're a minute and 40 in. Song structuring at this point, not necessarily super important, but something to remember. There we go. First rap verse of the album. Love the flow. Very crisp, clear vocals. Right in the middle. Reverb on the sides, but still not taking away from the clarity. Definitely a low-pass reverb. And some guitar on the right side. Shout out to Bruce Lee. I'm hearing lots of swear words, which is something I don't particularly care for in my music. It's not a deal breaker for me at all, and I would still probably say that I like this song, maybe the best of the 4 that I've heard so far. But I just am not a big fan of swear words. As my old boss at the recording studio I used to work at used to say, if you're going to be a bear, you might as well be a grizzly. So go ahead and let them go if you're going to do it. But I would always prefer to either have an edited, censored version, which I'm not against. I know a lot of people. Oh, and the song just ends, so there's no chorus after that. Interesting. So we're on track 5 now. This is Chalk Tablet Towers featuring St. Vincent, a female artist who I'm familiar a little bit. I have one of her albums, but her album after that was not something I was very into. I enjoyed that album, okay, the one I have. I don't remember what it's called, but I know it's pink. 2D starting. Nice clean vocal here. With a bit of a delay on the sides, but I guess my perception of it being clean would be that it's not as distorted. But none of the songs have had his vocals as distorted as on the first track. Ooh, now St. Vincent's vocals here, very present. Almost overpowering in my opinion. Now they're panned wide left, wide right, or at least pretty far left, right. And she's doing a bit of a shouty vocal. Whereas 2D is sort of laying back in his pocket. That's a very laid back vocal, which is how he always sings. So maybe it's just the contrast in intensity with which they're singing, but I'm not saying it sounds bad. I do enjoy it. So far, I would say of the 5 songs we've heard, I'm slightly disappointed with the structuring of the songs. I personally myself love classic ABA style structure songs where you have maybe like a little intro, then verse 1, chorus, verse 2, chorus, and then bridge, chorus out. That's my favorite structure of a song. Of course, there are fantastic, great songs with different structures than that, but that's just, I love sort of being able to look down the road and know where the song is kind of headed, at least a little bit. It's nice to be surprised every now and then, but I like to have that familiar feeling with music that I've never heard before. And I've mentioned this in my other videos before too, but I know that might not necessarily make sense, but something can't feel familiar and comfortable to you unless you have sort of a basis and understanding of it before you've experienced it for the first time. Obviously, after you experience it every time after that, you're familiar with it. But I like having that familiar feeling at first. I like being able to look ahead and sort of guess where we're going to go. But so far on this album, I don't really know if I've heard a chorus or any part of the song that repeats, at least not to the degree that, for example, Clint Eastwood did on their very first album, with the verses being rap verses and then the chorus being the sung chorus, the same exact vocal part repeated 3-4 times throughout the song. You know that part, you're able to sing it when it comes up. And so far on this song and most of the previous arrangements of this album, there's been almost no chorus whatsoever. So this song as well, same thing, no chorus that I could hear, no repeating parts, at least in terms of a chorus. Maybe a little bit of a refrain in there. Okay, so now we're on track 6, The Pink Phantom, featuring Elton John, and Six Lack. Okay. Having Elton John on a song is true kudos to you. Elton John, absolute legend in the music industry. Oh, those bass notes. Awesome. I assume that's a sort of a bass note, and then there's a synth bass sort of low passed again in the back that is sort of moving along with it. So it sounds like one sound, but it's a combination. Ooh, and there is a very auto-tuned person. I assume that's Six Lack. And he has auto-tune up the wazoo, which, not knowing anything about this Six Lack person, makes me question whether he can sing or not. Definitely can't use this as an example to listen from because every single note is touched by the autotune. And for those of you unfamiliar with how autotune works, autotune, at least the versions of it that I'm familiar with, which are pretty early versions, autotune doesn't become active unless the note is incorrect, and autotune has to take the incorrect frequency, the incorrect pitch, and move it to where it's supposed to be within a key. Now, you can futz with the autotune a bunch, and for example, say that like every note you sing, no matter what you sing, has to be like an A note. So then in that case, the autotune's going nuts, going crazy. In that case, they were definitely making it an obvious effect. So I'm hoping that this Six Lack person is a great singer and they don't rely on the auto-tune to get to the correct notes. They just rely on it as a cool effect, cool vocal effect, much like reverb or delay or anything that you hear on 2D's vocals here. Now there's Elton John. So much character. That's one of the things I love about aging artists, and I do not mean that aging disrespectfully at all. Elton John's been making amazing music since the 60s, maybe even back to the 50s. I'm not sure what year Crocodile Rock came out. I know that was one of his earlier hits, but like, amazing. And as a person grows, your voice becomes different. In a lot of cases for male vocals, your voice becomes deeper and more gruff. And you can definitely hear that with Elton John, and I love that. But you can also hear his experience in his voice, and that's a very special, cool thing. Now here we got 2D and Elton John singing together, which is very special. Very cool. Please don't be over, song. There we go. Okay, there's 6 slack again. With all of them together, it sounds pretty cool, I gotta say. And the overall groove of the song just being bass and kick just sort of hitting it. Having the bass not doing any runs or anything crazy is kind of nice. It's a nice pocket to fit back into. And now they're going to just kind of fade out. So far, I will say I am loving the way all of this sounds, but the structuring of it is something that I'm missing. I'm missing the more familiar structures. And maybe this is like I was saying with their album, Humans. They're just moving beyond a style of music that's made for me. They're making music. Are we getting a rock song here? No. Track 7. Aries, featuring Peter Hook and Georgia. Love it. Love it. You can really hear the gated reverb on the kick, and that gives it sort of an 80s feel right off the bat. Ooh, and then to have the toms with the same effect on it, the pitched toms, definitely getting an 80s feel. And then we got a guitar riff right in the middle. Ooh. Love it. Very cool percussive effect there. With the old familiar, laid back, almost lazy 2D vocals. I love that percussive, snappy attack. Ooh, and then having the guitar here. This is my favorite song so far. A very kind of cool slap back reverb on 2D's vocals here. Makes it fit into the space nicely. Because again, you have that reverb and sort of the effects. The snare is a very thin sounding snare, but when you have the sort of sound on it, the reverb that sort of goes out and then again is gated like this, like the kick was at the beginning. All the drums, I believe, have that same reverb effect on them. Okay. Love the guitar. Noodle is the standout on this track for me. A lot of the Gorillaz albums, or a lot of the Gorillaz songs, I should say, on almost all their albums, there are a lot of songs that you can't really even hear or tell there's guitar on it at all. And that's totally cool. Noodle is a great piano player as well. And I love it when she lends her vocals to songs, though it's been quite a while since she's done that. Not a lot of songs feature Noodle with on vocals anymore, but it's something I do miss from the first 2 albums specifically. I love the songs that featured her, but you know, she has chosen with her career to go into a bit of a more musical direction rather than singing, and that's cool. That's her prerogative. She's had a pretty hard life up to this point, so I'm glad she's doing well now. I will also say 2D killing it with the vocals on this song. Also, the synth swells and general pad work on this song, very cool too. And then the drums kick back in. Now, this song feels like it has a bit of a chorus to it, or more of a refrain almost, a repeating part. And that's kind of what I mean, like this, or what I was saying at least in the intro about the previous Gorillaz albums, like in more modern Gorillaz albums, it seems like they're making less structured songs, whereas what I'm looking for are things like Feel Good Inc., things like Clint Eastwood, things like that, where there is a definite chorus, repeated parts, things you can hum along, sing along to. when you listen back to the song. And you don't have to listen to the song several times in order to hear those sections several times. You can hear those sections. You get the benefit of hearing these sections being repeated multiple times within that same song. So I love that song. I wish it would have been a little bit more, but... track 8 here. Now we're starting right off with a mumble rapper. Track 8, Friday the 13th. I assume that the person who is rapping as lazily as possible is Octavian. I'm getting a bit of a almost like a reggae feel to his flow, which is kind of interesting. I like that. A pretty dry vocal. Now we got some falsetto vocals from him, with also a low, very wide vocal in the background. A lot nice delay there. A lot of effects on the vocals, but the core vocal is very dry, which I enjoy. I'm not hearing a ton of auto-tune now. When the song started, definitely more. Also, I'm hearing some swear words, but I believe I did also just hear a censored word there, or a blank space. And maybe that was left in intentionally by the artist, Octavian. Or maybe the word was just considered too much for whatever they're going for here. That's up to the discretion of the artist at this point, I guess. Since Walmart no longer sells physical CDs, Walmart was definitely, if you're not familiar, Walmart was the #1 retail for edited and censored music up until, 5-6 years ago when the music industry sort of changed a little before that. And then now, just recently, Walmart completely took CD section out of all their stores. So you cannot go buy CDs at Walmart anymore, which is a big bummer for me, someone who lives in the Midwest. Walmart is the only place within 50 miles of me that I could go to purchase music at all physically. And now I would have to go farther than that, significantly farther, if I want to buy anything physical in person. I have to order this Gorillaz album I had to order online through Amazon. So, and as far as I saw and knew, there was no edited version. Otherwise, I probably would have got that. But sometimes they don't have deluxe editions, which I definitely wanted the deluxe edition because I love the Gorillaz enough. I want to have all the material that they can release with this release. But back to this song. Vocals fading out here. Piano kind of staying in there. A twinkly sounding piano. Ooh, okay. Oh, now 2D enters this song for the first time. Not too unfamiliar. In terms of things they've done in the past. Sorry, I just connected with me that this song is called Friday the 13th. Rather, Friday 13th, not Friday the 13th. Friday 13th. I haven't gotten any creepy horror vibes at all from the song, so I kind of like that. It's almost a misnomer. Basically, because Friday the 13th, of course, is basically common nomenclature for the horror movie, or just a day of having bad things happen to you, things like that. So just having Friday 13th is kind of interesting. I like it. Ooh. So now we're on Dead Butterflies, which is track 9. This is Dead Butterflies featuring Kano and Roxani Arias. Aries. I apologize if I mispronounced that. Kano and Roxani Arias. Okay, now we got 2D, a little behind the scenes there. Can we loop that part? Very, very low bass here. Or there was for a minute. There, it's back. That is subwoofer bass levels right there. That's very cool. And then his just pretty singing over the top of it. Very laid back, like. Okay. That was awesome. I actually couldn't tell for a second whether that was 2D or a guest vocalist. But I believe so far this song has been all 2D. the vocal effects on you. This are pretty cool. I believe there's a pitch shifted and slightly off center duplicate of his lead vocal, not a second take or an alternate take, but an actual duplicate. You've been hearing a lot more of that recently in pop music, a duplicate of a track with crazy effects on it, and then having certain frequencies boosted, and then having those frequencies taken out of the lead vocal. Oh, beautiful, clear, crisp, pristine female vocals. Right in the middle. Love it. Very soulful sounding. Spanish vocals? Oh, I love. Oh. Oh. This is how you put a song together. Oh. Great. Some swear words in there, but whatever. I'm going to ignore that. Love the beat. Russell killing it. Love Tootie's vocals at the beginning. Great. Amazing mix. Murdoch killing it. Haven't heard any evidence of Noodle on this song, but who knows? She could be doing backbone vocals or something. But that female vocal, and then having the rapper come in here, clear. Just his verse slicing through. Love it. Give them all back to me. Okay, now we're back to 2D. Oh, and there's some auto-tune on 2D's vocals again. Again, it's that effect. They're using it as an effect. And I can say that 100% certain because I know we have many albums worth of 2D singing without that effect on it. We know he's a good singer. So don't worry. They're just using it as an effect. Love it, though. I want to hear more female vocals. I want to hear more Spanish in this, and then I want to hear another verse. But the song's already 3 minutes and 20 seconds long, so I doubt they're giving it to me based on the lengths of the songs previously, but I really want that. I really want it so bad. The rap verse was pretty long, but man, I would love to get a little bit more of the female vocals. I'm kind of getting this feeling that the song is winding down, though, which is a big bummer. And as I've said already multiple times, like this is my problem with Humans. I feel like it was definitely meant to be listened to from front to back in a row without taking the songs out individually and listening to them for their own enjoyment. And I can totally appreciate that as a singular piece of art. And that's the way I prefer to listen to music, front to back, start an album, go. But I just really miss the song structures. I really do. I like it when you have something that's catchy and amazing sounding. I want to hear that several times. Which he is singing a chorus, I believe, here. And now we just got this clean sort of Rhodes sounding piano, almost like a glockenspiel thing. And then that dissonant sort of those piano notes. 2D going crazy on this song. That song was great. One part of that song was great. Okay, now we're on, this song is called Désolé. Ooh, love the drums right off the bat. Désolé featuring Fatoumata Diawara. Fatoumata Diawara. I apologize again, I don't know. Oh, we got great drums. We got a guitar. Oh, and there's Noodle, or there's Russell. Or, sorry, jeez. We've got all of them. I mentioned all of them. There's Murdoch with the bass. Noodle just getting to play some straight-up guitar here, though. Love it. Gotta love it. Maybe this is just an instrumental song. Which would be cool. As I said, the Now had several instrumental songs on it, but it was just pretty much all synth-created stuff, like 80s sort of sounding synths with modern drum samples. Nope, okay. Oh, I love it. Désolé. Love it. If you're familiar with my channel at all, you'll know how much I adore music sung in a language other than English. Of course, I love English music too, but there's just something to me about the freeing feeling you get when you hear music sung in a language you yourself don't speak. You don't have to try to relate to the lyrics. You don't have to try to feel something deep, some sort of a deep connection with them. You can just enjoy the vocals as another instrument, and it really allows you to understand and look at the music in a nice, different, and more well-rounded way, in my opinion. We got female vocals here. Sounds amazing. Love it. The Gorillaz, of course, famously collaborate with artists from around the world of all different cultures and races, ethnicities, no matter what you can think of, they've done it. And it's just one of the coolest things about them. They truly get along with everyone, and it's a magical aspect of the band. Love the laid-back feel of this. We're getting almost some sort of like ethnic bells sort of sounding on the side here. Almost like a wooden xylophone sort of sound. Back to the female vocals. This is a chorus. This is what I was asking for. I love it. Désolé. Désolé. I admit I do not know what language this is that they're referencing with the Désolé or her vocal part. Ah, brass. Awesome. Just having a brass part here. Don't end the song there, though. Go back in with it, please. Come on. Love it. Come on, have the drums come back in. Do it. Have one song with a third chorus. They're building, they're building. Don't just end it, please. Please, please, please. Yeah! Désolé. I love it. Some amazing vocal leads here. She's doing some vocal runs. That's always cool. Good way to add a big climax to a song. 4.5 minutes. One of the longer songs on the album. Oh, yes, and you keep it going. Oh, yeah. Bring the guitar in. Dude, jam for 5 minutes. I don't care. Do it. I love it. Play for as long as you want. Désolé. Boom, boom, boom. There's sort of a very simple guitar on the left side a little bit, playing just the roots of things, which is nice. And then the rhythm guitar. Just keep going. You always get the sense that the Gorillaz are having fun when they're making a record. And they're not afraid to throw in imperfections and things like that and make them the core piece of a song. Just crazy little extra things that were recorded. Talkback mic moments, things like that, things done between takes. Things like that are always so special. They really give a feeling that they're having fun while they're recording. All right, we're on track. That was 5.5 minutes. So now we're on track 11. Momentary Bliss, featuring Slow Tie and Slaves. Slow Tie and Slaves. Okay. Sounds like 2D, but I don't think it is. Little build here. Oh, that is a Gorillaz sound. 2D bringing the synths. Love it. Swear words. Don't care for that. Really no beat to speak of here. There is, but... Guitar with a bit of a chop effect on it. Very wide guitar, too. I think it's a guitar. The more I listen to it, could be a distorted synth, too. I love all the background noise, the people talking. Definitely was a guitar. Bit of a punky part here. (2D). Still not much of a very big beat, just sort of a low pass drum thing happening in the back. And then kind of a chicka, 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 chicka on the guitar, creating a rhythm. This part's 2D for sure. I'm liking the more sort of overall band feeling of this album. The overall feeling of it is very nice. It's kind of a combination of everything Gorillaz have done. Minus any of the sort of old school hip hop beats, which was one of my favorite parts of the first album. But Russell did such a great job with that album. I guess I understand them not wanting to go and drink from that well again. They did everything they could with that. But who knows? Maybe the next song is a straight up old school hip hop song. That'd be great, but I doubt it. Half tempo now. Very awesome gorilla style synths. I'm not sure where the first disc ends and the second disc begins. I guess we'll just go until it ends. I enjoyed that song. It was very different, but, you know, fits the Gorillaz aesthetic totally. Oh, that was the end. So track 11 was the end of the regular version. So, or the first disc, I guess. So, okay. I believe we got time with recording, so I'm going to go ahead and throw in the other disc. All those songs were about 3.5 minutes long. I'm anxious to see if this disc is just a continuation, or we got a blue disc this time. Or is this songs that wouldn't have fit on that? You know? Let's give it a listen and see. So we're on track 12 now, basically. Opium, featuring Earth Gang. Interesting synth sounds right off the bat. Ooh, love the distorted chops. Or the not distorted, 8-bit, like it is a distortion, using sort of an 8-bit filter thing. Interesting song intro here. I would say maybe this is an instrumental one. I feel like we got something building up a little bit. I'm not sure who Earth Gang is. If it's a vocalist, it could just be an electronic artist. I love the build with the synth here, the synth line. Now it's fading away again. The first snares we've heard. Almost sort of a reggae trick with a big snare there with some reverb on it. Which, of course, Gorillaz' first album, definitely known for its dub aesthetic. Which this song feels pretty dub. This is the closest I believe we've gotten to some more dub-feeling music on this album. And it's certainly not the style of music Gorillaz have been going for the last few years. Though on Humans, there were a few moments of that. We're doing a build-up again. Okay. We're still building. Vocals are coming in, though. What are we building to? Are we just building to the end of the song? Oh, here comes whatever we're building to. Love it. Very modern flow for hip-hop rap music. Which is not a hip-hop rap song, although anymore nowadays, modern rap music could be almost anything. Most definitely, though, it is based in electronic music nowadays, rather than the sort of jazz drum samples that early hip-hop was based off of. This is really interesting. For all I know, this disc is filled with how many songs are on here? Well, this is track 12 of the whole project. There's 2D for the first time. We got 17 songs. Maybe we just got 6 songs that are all 5 minutes long. Maybe I got a half hour left of this. I like it. That nice rise there in the synth. Very cool. We got some kids in the background. Love that. Harkening, of course, back to Dirty Harry off of Demon Days. I believe it's just a sample of kids, though, but I'm still okay with it. It's definitely a featured part of the song, so. Love it. Da-da, ba-ba, ba-ba, ba-ba. Love it, love it, love it. I love it. Ooh. A bit more of a reggae accent here. Love it. We're at 5 minutes. This is cool. Again, it just sounds like this song was crafted with a fun hand. I know it's weird to say that, but... And maybe it's just the joyous sounding kids, but it just sounds fun. And I think that's something we could all use nowadays. Fun. It's not to say that dark... sinister things can't be awesome. The music I tend to listen to is mostly a lot more dark than this. Not necessarily more negative, but certainly heavier, certainly more somber. And then all of a sudden, a real upright piano sound. Love it. What an interesting part. That is definitely 2D, a 2D piano part. And now we have what? 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 piano parts overlapping here. Got a piano solo with a crazy piano part and then a high trilling piano part on the left. That's a cool song. Brr, brr. Love it. We're at 6 minutes and 40 seconds right now. I'm not going to say that I like that song better than anything on the main album, but he's pretty dang good. I like it a lot. Track 2 on this, Simplicity. Featuring, so we're technically on track 13, Simplicity, featuring Joan as Policewoman. So I don't know if Policewoman is her role in this song or her stage name is Joan as Policewoman. Joan as Policewoman. I don't know. An artist I'm unfamiliar with. Let's start right off with some singing. Oh, 2D coming in. Multiple layers of vocals here. Ooh, what is that? Thing in the back. That's weird, but I love it. It was just like slightly detuned a little bit to make it like a little offsetting or off-putting. I have to mention that I'm looking at my CD player and the battery says it's blinking, saying that it might run out of battery. I do have a backup emergency battery, but I was hoping I wouldn't have to use it. But if that happens, I'll let you know and we will change it out. I also don't know how long this video is. I only have 80 minutes of recording time, so it certainly doesn't feel like it's been that long. Very laid back right now. Ooh, there's some sort of a maybe alto sax in the back. Some sort of a actual instrument in there. Some sort of a horn. Could just be a sax, regular sax playing up on an alto sax. Interesting high shrill vocal there. Sounds like it's got a lot of effects on it, some reverb. Making it sound like it was recorded in a small room rather than like a giant open cathedral reverb. Echo there. Ooh. Oh, well, okay. And it's done. All right, track 3 on this, or track 14, I believe, Severed Head, featuring Gold Link and Unknown Mortal Orchestra. Anything that says featuring any kind of orchestra, I'm all in for, regardless of what that means. Even Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, which is just a band, synth band. Or Kaiser's Orchestra from Norway. Ooh. Ooh, very interesting. The off-time hi-hat, offbeat hi-hat. And then having that hi-hat there first, and then having that kick come in is very interesting, unsettling, like wavy feeling almost. And then to have bo-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da, bo-da-da-da-dum, very like wavy, almost shaky sounding. Okay, some stuff. Wow. Yes. More swear words in there. Love the way the voice sounds and the way it fits in. Kind of a cool lyric there. 2D coming in with the vocals. I will also point out that the swear words, though they bother me, they don't really affect my overall liking of it. And I would like to say, too, that as far as I am aware of, I do not think that Tootie has used any swear words in any song the Gorillaz have released. So, there's that. Interesting, this is a guest vocalist. I don't know if it's the same person. Remember, this song was Severed Head featuring Gold Link and Unknown Mortal Orchestra. Maybe Unknown Mortal Orchestra is just the name of an individual artist. This person singing, or could be the other way around. I assume the Unknown Mortal Orchestra was possibly a group of people singing, or a group of people that were put together for this to all play their instruments for this particular song. But it could just be an individual artist. Oh, wait, we're back to some rap vocals. Roundabout. Such a Gorillaz thing. Okay, that was track 14, Severed Head. Now we're on track 15. Oh boy. With Love to an Ex, featuring Moonchild Sanelli. Moonchild Sanelli. Or Sanel. Ooh, the overdubbing of the vocal there is very interesting. It has a very interesting feel. I think one of the vocals is pitch manipulated. Almost sounds like it was sung at a different note and then brought up to... Very dry vocals. Interesting way to have multiple takes in there at once. And now the flow starts. The beat. That hi-hat is nice. Ooh. Slightly off time, like human-sounding bells. Gotta love that. Just real quick, since we're on the next song, I don't know where the orchestra was in the previous song. As I said, I think it was one of the people singing. Don't hold it against anyone. I think that's kind of a cool name. The Unknown Mortal Orchestra. This is weird. Totally pitch-shifted vocals. Totally could be the same lady that was just singing, and pitch-shifted, but... I love the way this sounds. From a sonic perspective, it is fascinating. I wonder if this Moonchild person is a friend of Noodles. Someone she knows. This song definitely sounds like it has Noodles' influence on it for sure. And we got a third chorus there. I don't want to not point that out because I was so adamant about that earlier. I love it. Okay, all right. That was 15. Now we're on MLS featuring JPEG Mafia and Chai. Not a fan of the profanity so far. Love the synth there. Oh, that's some nice synth lines in there. This one also has noodle written all over it. Yeah. JPEG Mafia and Chai. This must be JPEG Mafia. Love it. More swearing. Love the groove. Ooh. Some distorted screaming in there. I'm getting a tiny bit of Shibomato vibe here, which anything that can bring to mind Shibomato is special. The style of vocals, I think we have just... I kind of alluded to this earlier. The typical rapping style, I believe, has moved beyond my taste, if that makes sense. I definitely don't think that there's any less skill or technique involved in this. It's just particularly not the flow that I enjoy listening to. And this song's not that bad. I guess I'm just sort of overall thinking. Haha. Definitely some Chibomato. Love it. Oh, Gorillaz could do anything. And it's so happy. I love it. The distorted background, like, great. And then a recorder in there. Oh, that is a callback to Clint Eastwood. Oh, that was maybe my favorite song off of it. Okay, how we got? This was the last song, I believe, How Far, featuring Tony Allen and Skepta. Okay, more modern sort of rapping. This is British rap sounding, and I'm sorry I don't know the terminology for that, but I really enjoy this. I like the British accent. I believe it's a specific region of England that this sort of accent comes from. I really enjoy it. If you're familiar with what I'm talking about, let me know in the comments so I know. Love the beat. Love what the music is consisting of. Love the strings. I believe it could be real strings played for this, but it also could be sampled strings. It's giving it a feeling of building. A lot of words in this song. I appreciate that. Love it. I definitely feel like we're not going to get multiple verses from this. But again, this song is featuring Tony Allen and Skepta. And I believe so far we've only heard one vocalist. Not sure which is which. A lot of lyrics just constantly flowing. Gotta respect it. Okay. Now we get some spoken word. Hold on. Okay, that first track was Robert Smith. So this is a different spoken word artist. Back to rapping again. I think this is a chorus. He repeated that part earlier, I believe. No, that was great. Don't end it like that. Very Gorillaz, though, I guess, to end a song with a laugh. And that's it. Huh. Okay, so that was the deluxe edition of the Gorillaz album, Song Machine Season 1. Wow, okay, it's tough because as I was saying that whole time, song structure is something that's very important to me, and this album as a whole had almost no song structure. If you just dropped someone in during any point, if the songs didn't fade out and fade in, and I don't mean that literally like fade, getting quieter and then getting louder, if the songs didn't clearly end and then restart, you would have no clue where you were because it's just a cool part followed by a cool part, followed by a cool part, followed by a cool part, and then the song's over. And then the next song is another cool part, followed by another cool part, followed by another cool part, followed by another cool part, and then the song is over. And that's just song, 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 song. When you don't have choruses, when you don't have structured verses that are done by the same person, it's hard to follow along, and it's hard to have a sense of where you're at and where you're sitting from song to song. So that is an aspect of it that's definitely a negative for me, and that is exactly one of the reasons I couldn't get into Humans as much. Now, however, Humans, I feel, had like a much more contemporary sound in terms of what the music was doing. On this album, there was definitely a lot more real instruments, or at least real sounding instruments, like acoustic drums, someone playing a bass rather than just a synth bass, or if it was a synth bass, I do believe you could feel like someone was playing the synth bass along with it. And then there were several songs that featured guitar that you could hear and tell was a guitar. So Noodle was featured a lot more on this album, I believe, definitely than the last few albums. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. However, I believe with this, the days of the Gorillaz doing normal structured songs is over. They're doing little sections and things that might be cool that could be featured in a short TikTok video or something like that. They are definitely doing modern sounding music, modern sounding hip hop rap music mixed with modern sounding electronic music. The vocals could be anything at any point. And I guess that's sort of, to me, one of the downfalls of having multiple guest artists on a song. If you're going to have 2D sing on almost every song, which I believe he did almost every song on all 17 of those songs, if you're going to have 2D sing on all of those songs, and it's not a chorus, he's going to be singing a verse then, or something that feels like a verse. So if you have 2D singing a verse, and then you bring in an artist that's a rapper or a hip-hop artist, and they do a verse, and then you bring in another guest vocalist to sing something that could be considered a chorus, there you have 3 different parts of a song. Now, you could, of course, do verse 1 is 2D singing, then, for example, a lady singing a chorus, and then a rapper on verse 2, and then come back to the chorus, and then have something different as a bridge. But instead, what they choose to do on this album is longer sections. So 2D will sing for about a minute, and then there will be a separate part for about a minute, or maybe 30 seconds with a 30-second intro before 2D's part, and then a 1-minute long rapping sequence or something like that, and then kind of an outro and the song is done. And maybe that's just the way music is trending. I don't really keep up on a lot of very contemporary pop music that's super, super popular. I know the things that are out there in the wild. And as far as I know, music for the most part is still pretty structured. I can appreciate artists who want to go and do something other than just the standard ABA style structuring. I can appreciate artists that want to do something that sounds different and is unexpected. I can appreciate that, but as a listener of music, someone who listens to music all the time, I really like to have that structure there. That's just me. You know, you might hate the predictability of certain styles of music and certain song structures, whereas that gives me comfort and allows me to sort of anticipate the first time and then also appreciate the second time, rather than, if I really like a section of one of those songs, I would have to go back and listen to that whole song again. And I guess that also speaks to the way I listen to music personally. I do not listen to the same album over and over and over and over again. I never listen to a song right after I've just listened to it. I never, ever do that. I like to listen to an album as a whole the first time I hear it, and then I'll go back through and pick and choose the songs that I enjoy the next time. Or if I liked it, I'll go through and listen to it all the way through. But it's never directly following listening to something the first time or ever. I always make it a point. I have a vast collection of music on CDs, and I always make it a point to listen to something else in between, to have things in between going back and listening to the same thing multiple times. And like I said, never in a row. So maybe that just speaks to the way I choose to listen to music, and maybe that is falling by the wayside. And maybe I'm supposed to just pick one of the songs, put it on repeat, and listen to it 5 times so that I get that feeling of hearing that one section of the song that I love so much repeated multiple times upon multiple listenings to that same song, rather than one song repeating the part multiple times. So I hope that's not the case. I don't know if I can change my brain up enough to just accept that music is moving in that direction. But I don't necessarily think it is. I think this is just a case of Murdoch, Tootie, Noodle, and Russell doing the things that they've been doing. They've been heading this direction for a long time. That's all negative, though. I want to say on the positive side, I loved the groove throughout the whole album. I loved that it felt like and sounded like the Gorillaz the entire time, no matter who their guest artists were. And I believe on this album, for sure, they had more guest artists than they've ever had on any single Gorillaz album. So I absolutely love that. I applaud them for that. I didn't have a problem with any of the guest vocalists at all, even when I first started talking about some of the guest vocalists and their ability to actually sing or not because of all the auto-tune. I believe later in that song, that same vocalist had more dry vocals on it, so you could tell that he was doing better, performing at a level that would be up to the standard of Gorillaz. So overall, I like this album. I would definitely say, upon first listen, it could change, I like it better than the Now Now. I like it better than Humans. I definitely like it better than The Fall, which is not one of my favorite Gorillaz albums, even though I don't know if that's considered a real album. I do not think I like it more than Demon Days, and I definitely don't like it more than Plastic Beach or their self-titled debut album, which is my favorite album of theirs. Yeah, I don't know. So those are my thoughts. I'm really excited that I got to listen to this. I'm excited that it was in 2020, which has been a really fantastic year for music. I know in a lot of ways 2020 has really sucked, but for music, there has been so much fantastic music released this year. So I'm just happy that we were able to find some cool Gorillaz music here towards the end of the year and really get into it. So that is Song Machine Season 1. Now that makes me wonder, I have not heard anything about this. Is there a Season 2 planned? Like, do the Gorillaz have enough material to release another album soon, like within the next 6 months? That would be really awesome if they did. Guess you'll have to wait and find out. In any case, thank you very much for watching, and go out and listen to some good music today. Really go out and listen to it and enjoy it. Focus on it. Sit with some headphones. Don't just listen to it on your phone. I mean, you can plug your headphones into your phone, but I think you know what I mean. Anyway, thank you very much. See you next time.